I think it was in like 2023. I was feeling generally very like destabilized in my life. Like had a big friend breakup actually on the same day as the summer solstice that was being held in the garden that day, and I was invited by my friend Io, and I came here to that event, and we literally, I recall very strongly, sang "Kumbaya" around a fire, as the sun was setting, and it was such a beautiful and spiritual experience to me in a way that like I felt immediately had been like missing in my life.
One of the things that I love about all of Jamaica Plain is that people talk to each other, and that happens a lot in this neighborhood especially. Like the way we think about it is it's a public park, open sun up to sundown. It doesn't have a wait list. It doesn't have a locked gate that means that only members are invited in. Everyone's invited in. This is why we live in the city.
So I was moving in on a Saturday, U-Haul boxes, and a community member from the garden, Hank, walked past me, introduced himself, and added me to the group chat. So 2 hours into my time in the neighborhood, I was involved.
I'm Kathleen Robinson, and we're sitting in the Leland Street Cooperative Garden in Jamaica Plain, Forest Hills neighborhood. I moved into this neighborhood in 1984. The city had invested nothing in it for a long time. When my partner and I bought a house that's right, I'm looking at it right now as I sit in the garden. It was, we bought it because you could get houses for almost nothing. So when we looked out our window at where I'm sitting now, which is now the garden, in those days, people had called it the lots, and it was basically a junkyard. There were 3 abandoned cars, an abandoned refrigerator, and people had been dumping trash here for years. We looked out our front yard, our windows, and we said, it kind of looks like our front yard. Why don't we go out and see if we can pick up some of the trash? Why don't we call the city and see if maybe they can come and tow these abandoned cars and get the refrigerator out of there? I mean, we were 60s lefties. And we had that vision of people need to work together in order to make a better world. And this is our little corner of the world. It's so amazing what 5 people working together can do compared to what 1 person or even 2 people can do. It's exponentially multiplied. My father had grown up on a farm, so had my mother. So he started a Victory Garden plot down the street from us, and that was my introduction to gardens. He would get home from work at 5 o'clock or something, eat a quick bite of dinner, and then pack the tools into the trunk of the old Chevrolet. And us, his daughters, us 2 girls, would say, "We want to come too." And later, my younger sister, "Can we ride in the trunk with the tools?" And we would get to ride in the trunk with the tools, and then down 3 blocks to the garden, and then we would work until dark, and the mosquitoes would be biting us. And then occasionally he would say, "Well, let's go to the Dairy Queen before we go." But not every time. So you couldn't count on it. But I didn't care. I didn't go for the Dairy Queen. I went because it was really fun. The magnolia tree was one of the first things we planted. Do you remember what it looks like now? I think we might have told you about Dino. He's an Italian man who escaped Italy during the Second World War. This man helped to start the garden. He working with this little girl. This was the opening party. All the people who came to the opening. Our garden was awarded the Hall of Fame Award by the trustees. So we had a party in the garden outside, and back in those days, people were even wearing their masks outside. But that was Dino and me. Most of the people who originally envisioned this garden and helped to build it were priced out of the neighborhood. Ironically, partly because of the garden. The garden was used as an example of why you should pay, an astronomically high price for this house that's falling down. I would say every time that I have thought that, oh boy, this person moved and that person moved, now the garden's just going to fall apart. Every time, yeah, they moved, but somebody else moved in who loves the garden and wants to keep it going. So, yeah.
I was walking the dogs, saw a neighbor who was mentioned before, who's now 95 years old, Dino, who's been living in this neighborhood for 70 years, and we just connected. He's Italian, I'm German, so we talked about World War II and whatnot. And then he explained to me that it is an open garden that everybody can garden at, and I was interested in sustainable agriculture and through that also, growing our own food. And that's how I got connected. And then I wanted to learn timber framing, and a tree came down in my backyard, and I was like, I wonder if I can build a timber frame shed out of that tree. So then I set that into my mind, and I went to the garden community and said, hey, do you want to have a shed, and should we try that? And they were like pretty excited. Really all with hand saws, hand tools, cut all the joists and tenons and put it together in 5 days.
It's about the food and the community. It's about growing relationships between ourselves and the land, ourselves and our diets, and across divides in the city of class and race and culture and language, and bringing people together. So that's essentially what it is.
I have been searching for more community in my life. So to me, it's like fresh water, like having that connection available to me. And I've lived here for a month, and I know probably over 20 people by name already. So it's pretty incredible.
I've seen so many people that have done so much to make the garden happen, but then they move. And I think, okay, now the garden's going to fall apart. But it doesn't. Before I know it, there's some other wonderful people that show up. And it's like, I feel like there's a garden angel that's calling the people who are supposed to be here.